It's no way to run a country.
Tim McIntyre.
Speaker, that member for Dunedin North is guilty of uttering the most cliches and the worst speeches of any member from his district for 50 years. And I must say that he's even inspired Mr Hipkins to copy his worst haircut in 50 years. I want to put on record, Mr Speaker, some of the great things are happening in my fine city of Hamilton, and I'll get onto that in a moment. But because our opposition have beamed in again today from Planet Labour, apart from the odd few over there who are in lentil soup land, I think it's important that we remind ourselves of some of the facts that the Minister of Finance has put on record in his speech today in Auckland to Massey University and the Auckland Chamber of Commerce. Because he has reminded us that while the global financial and economic situation remains pretty uncertain, here in New Zealand we're actually doing pretty well. And our opponents don't like that. They certainly don't want to admit it. But the fact is that New Zealanders do, and that's why a whole raft of public opinion polls lately have reflected that support. Because our economy is growing. We are on track back into surplus. We were told when Michael Cullen left office that he was bequeathing the government coming in a decade of deficits. And he boasted that he'd spent the lot. Well, we've got there in half the time because of prudent financial management. Business confidence is improving. Our companies are becoming more competitive. Wages are growing. Inflation is low. Net household disposable income is around 20% higher than it was when we came into office. These are the facts. Compared to when your government was in office, Dr. Clark, over 60,000 more Kiwis now have jobs. Pity the Green member who tried to tell us otherwise isn't here to hear that. Of course our unemployment rate remains too high. That is a reality of the times. But we've got the right prescription and we're seeing good results. Interest rates are at a 50-year low and households are saving more. And on top of all of that, as the Honourable Chris Tremaine told us, our $30 billion Christchurch rebuild program is well underway with considerable help from the New Zealand taxpayers. Well, Dr. Clark, if that's the worst economic record of 50 years, let's have another 50, because that is the right prescription and we're doing well. They are the facts. It's good news for New Zealanders. And yet the knockers and the hands-on-your-wallet brigade opposite would have us trying to believe that the opposite is true. Well, Mr Speaker, let's remember that the government has a very clear program. The Prime Minister outlined it in his statement at the start of the year. We were re-elected in 2011 with a clear plan to build a faster-growing economy, supporting more jobs, rising incomes and better public services. And that's what we're doing. Our plan is to return to surplus, to reduce debt, to push ahead with a wide-ranging program of reforms to create a more productive and competitive economy, drive better results and better value for money from public services and support the rebuilding of Christchurch. And the reason I read that is because I want to put it into the record yet again that that's the government's program, that's our focus, and we remain unwaveringly determined to get there. It is the right prescription for New Zealanders. New Zealanders endorse it. Let's look at just a couple of examples of how our plan is resulting in better public services. We've recently had the announcements about smart technology for the police, and the impact of that will be dramatic. It is the equivalent of having many more officers out on the beat every day in every community in New Zealand. In my city of Hamilton, that impact is dramatic. That's one of the reasons, Mr Speaker, why recorded crime is now at a 30-year low. What a terrific achievement that is. And in health, Mr Speaker, there is so much good news it's hard to know which one to choose, but I'm going to talk about something that's relevant to some of my constituents who have written to me lately, and that is that over 45,000 New Zealanders have recently benefited from new and more accessible medicines just in the past 6 months. And that number will continue to increase, with 10 million more being invested in new medicines during this financial year. Mr Speaker, let me just close by saying that it has been a fantastic start to the year in Hamilton. We have got a booming city. It's a great place to visit. We've just had one of the most wonderful summer arts festivals that I can ever remember. It's always of a high standard. It's right up there with the best that the arts community can offer in New Zealand. Well done to everybody who's run the program, and thank you. I hope many other members got there. I want to congratulate the Hamilton City Council for their Green Award for the Hamilton Gardens, one of the best in the country. And well done the Black Caps, because Seton Park is where they win.
Right Honourable Winston Peters.
One more speech like that and Mogadon will be out of business. People